Hi, good morning everyone. I am Dr. Keshab Chandra Mandal from Kolkata, India. Very recently, I have started learning English from Vanish's spoken English class. She is an American lady and teacher, rather, I would say, and she has been teaching English for the last 10 years. And you all know that my readers and my followers here in India and my students know very well, and my friends also know that I am a member of American Library since 1989. So very recently I have once again renewed my membership card, and yesterday I went to the library and borrowed 3 books. This one, you see, George W. Bush, Decision Points, #1. Yeah, it's a very nice book. I am trying to understand how George W. Bush took decisions. Okay. Second, there is another book, Security in a Changing World. Security in a Changing World. This is another very great book. Okay, it was edited by Volker C. Frank, and I found another book. This is also very nice. United States and Asia, Regional Dynamics and 21st Century Relations, Robert G. Schroeder. Okay, it is also a very fantastic book. Yesterday I saw in the library and borrowed these 3 books. I would like to read these books now. Okay, so I would like to tell you about Decision Points, George W. Bush. And in this book, he has said that he had a very good rapport with his family. Okay, and he used to write his brother about his decisions. So here I am going to tell you how he took decision to invade or not invade in regard to Iraq. Okay, so in his book, rather it is a memoir, he wrote that on Wednesday, March 19, 2003, I walked into a meeting I had hoped would not be necessary. The National Security Council had gathered in the White House Situation Room, a nerve center of communications equipment, of duty of officers on the ground floor of the West Wing. The top center square of the secure video screen showed General Tommy Franks sitting with his senior deputies at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. In the other 5 boxes were our lead Army, Navy, Marine, Air Force, and Special Operations commanders. The counterparts of the British Armed Forces and Australian Defence Forces joined as well. I asked each man 2 questions. Do you have everything you need to win? And are you comfortable with the strategy? Each commander answered affirmatively. Tommy spoke last. Mr. President, the commanding general said, the force is ready. I turned to Don Rumsfeld. Mr. Secretary, I said, for the peace of the world and the benefit and freedom of the Iraqi people, I hereby give the order to execute Operation Iraqi Freedom. May God bless the troops. Unquote. Tommy snapped a salute. Mr. President, he said, may God bless America. As I saluted back, the gravity of the moment hit me. For more than a year, I had tried to address the threat from Saddam Hussein without war. We had rallied an international coalition to pressure him to come clean about his weapons of mass destruction programs. We had obtained an unanimous United Nations Security Council resolution making clear there would be serious consequences of the continued defiance. We had reached out to Arab nations about taking Saddam into exile. I had given Saddam and his sons a final 48 hours to avoid war. The dictator rejected my opportunity. The only logical conclusion was that he had something to hide, something too important, so important that he was willing to go to war for it. I knew the consequences my order would bring. I had wept with widow of troops lost in Afghanistan. I had hugged children who had no longer had a mom or a dad. I had not wanted to send Americans into combat again. But after a nightmare of September 11, I had vowed to do what was necessary to protect the country. Letting a sworn enemy of America refuse to account for his weapons of mass destruction was a risk I couldn't afford to take. I needed time to absorb the emotions of the moment. I felt the Situation Room, walked up to the stairs and through the Oval Office and took a slow, silent lap around the South Lawn. I prayed for our troops, for the safety of the country, and for strength in the days ahead. Spot, our Springer Spaniel, bounded out of the White House toward me. It was confronting to see a friend. Her happiness contrasted with the heaviness in my heart. There was one man who understood that I was feeling. I sat down at my desk in the treaty room and scrawled out a letter. Dear Dad, at around 9:30 a.m., I gave the order to Secretary of Defense to execute the war plan for Operation Iraqi Freedom. In spite of the fact that I had decided a few months ago to use force, if needed be, to liberate Iraq and rid the country of WMD, the decision was an emotional one. I know I have taken the right decision, and to pray few will lose life. Iraq will be free. The world will be safer. The emotion of the moment has passed, and I now wait word on the covert action that is taking place. I know what you went through. Love, George. A few words later, his reply came across the fax. Dear George, your handwritten note just received touched my heart. You were doing the right thing. Your decision just made is the toughest decision you have had made up until now. But you made it with strength and with compassion. It is right to worry about the loss of innocent life, be it Iraqi or American. But you have done that which you had to do. Maybe it helps a tiny bit as you face the toughest bunch of problems any president since Lincoln has faced. You carry the burden with strength and grace. Remember Robin's words, I love you more than tongue can tell. Well, I do. Devotedly, Dad. Next, he writes, the bombs that fell on Baghdad that night marked the opening phase in liberation of Iraq, but that was not the first airstrike on America on Iraq to take news during my presidency. On February 2001, I visited President Vincent Fox in San Cristobal, Mexico. My first foreign trip as president was designed to highlight our commitment to expanding democracy and trade in Latin America. Unfortunately, news out of Iraq intruded as we admired the serene vistas of Vincent's ranch. American bombers struck Iraq's air defense system. It was a relatively routine mission to enforce the no-fly zones and had been created after Saddam massacred thousands of innocent Syrians and Kurds following the Gulf War. Saddam fired up the barrage that lit up the Baghdad sky and grabbed the attention of CNN. When Vincent and I stepped out of his home for a press conference, a Mexican reporter began, quote, I have a question for President Bush. Is this the beginning of a new war? Unquote. The flare-up was a reminder of the deteriorating situation America faced in Iraq. More than a decade earlier, in August 1990, Saddam Hussein's tanks blasted across the border into Kuwait. Dad declared that Saddam's unprovoked aggression would not stand to give up a ultimatum to withdraw from Kuwait. When the dictator defied the demands, Dad rallied a coalition of 34 countries, including Arab nations, to enforce it. The decision to send American troops to Kuwait was agonizing for Dad and frustrating to implement. The Senate voted to authorize military force by a slim margin, 52 to 47. A group of lawmakers presented Dad with a letter that predicted 10,000 to 50,000 American deaths. Former President Jimmy Carter urged members of the Security Council to oppose the war. The UN voted to support it anyway. Operation Desert Storm proved a stunning success. Coalition forces drove the Iraqi army out of Kuwait in fewer than 100 hours. Ultimately, 149 Americans were killed in action. I was proud of that decisiveness. I wondered if he would send troops all the way to Baghdad. He had a chance to rid the world of Saddam Hussein once and for all. But he stopped at the liberation of Kuwait. That was how he had defined the mission. That was what Congress had voted for and coalition had signed up to do. I fully understood his rationale. With this, I would like to conclude here, and I will continue to give you this kind of videos because American Library is so nice and it is full of books on international relations, political science, which are history, American history, and there are many subjects. I only see and gender empowerment, all these things normally I see and I collect. This is a very good book. I brought this book, Decision Points, once again. It is really fantastic book. If possible, I would request the policymakers in the world to see. He was giving order, and after giving order, he was thinking whether the people will be killed or not, how many people will be killed. He was concerned with the safety and security of both civilians of Iraq as well as American troops. Okay, so this should be the humanity of a president or of a prime minister of any country. So I salute to George W. Bush. Thank you very much.